Hello everyone. I've been talking about computer stuff for a few days now. So I decided that you all probably want to break from it. I'll go ahead and talk about some game stuff. There are 3 games I'm keeping an eye on right now. I'm hoping to see something good or at least a change. Let's start with Mordhau. I'm gonna guess that's how you pronounce it. I have my eye on Mordhau for a couple of reasons. First being that it finally has a release date of sometime 2019. Second is because of my conversations with the Mordhau team. Their community manager was streaming a few weeks ago, and I went into their stream chat and asked a few questions. My questions varied from mechanical level up to how do you compare to other games type of thing. What I found interesting in their responses to all my questions is that they're veterans of chivalry. At least most of them. I don't know if all of them are. My understanding based on those responses is because that they're veterans of chivalry, they understand what they want from a medieval hack and slash game for PvP purposes. So they're putting their ideas and what they want into this game to hopefully be essentially a better chivalry game. I think that's an ambitious project in itself, but with the right motivation, it could be done. Let's see where this goes. Next on my list is, of course, Anthem. Anthem has my attention because of it being hyped, and I can see that they're trying to do a different approach to MMOs. There's some issues with this, though. While I do appreciate that they're trying to get away from the MMO stereotype, as I like to call it, they haven't really presented enough in the demo to make it a long-term thing, I think. There's a lot of things that need to be added for this to become a long-term game. Let me go ahead and talk about the 2 things I just mentioned. First being the MMO stereotype. I call it the MMO stereotype because most MMOs that I've played will usually consist of a tank, healer, and DPS of some kind. MMOs set themselves up in such a way that you need a tank, healer, and DPS setup depending on the dungeon. Depending on the dungeon, it's probably 2 healers, 1 tank, or some other mix. So it is nice to see that they're trying to go away from that, in that these javelins, as they're called, all have their own purpose in the game and aren't really going to be required to do one thing or the other. They can be modified to do things as you see fit. As for my concerns, this stems from many different aspects. There was no PvP in demos from what I saw, and there doesn't appear to be any signs of PvP from what I've read online. Now, if I'm incorrect, I do apologize. Please link that to me and I'll take a look at it. The reason that I'm so concerned with it not having PvP is because, as with any game, that you have to accommodate for the different types of players, right? Not everybody's going to want to be PvE forever. There's going to be some people that want to do PvP. If you don't have that, well, then you're going to have a tough time selling the game eventually, or you'll lose players in the process. As part of that PvP concern, I can branch out to talk about how there isn't really that much unique to the current javelins. You can see on the screen that there are 4 javelins right now: Ranger, Colossus, Interceptor, and Storm. So the reason that none of these are truly unique is because everybody but the Colossus can equip any weapon. The Colossus is the only one that can use heavy weapons. The next problem you have is the difference in HP levels and other things. So the only thing that really stands out right now between the javelins is how much HP or shields they have. The Colossus, for example, does not have shields. It has a temporary shield as part of a skill, but beyond that, it's just pure HP. Ranger, Interceptor, and Storm all have a mix of shield and HP. All these javelins have the exact same movement speed. The amount of time that you can fly with each javelin using your jets is, of course, different. What I just listed is really the only main differences in these javelins. So obviously there is going to have to be a lot of balance fixes later on, because as it stands, there's not really anything to make these javelins stand out in PvP. At this point, it just seems that the only thing that will stand out in PvP is a person's ability to be on top of skills and positioning. That's the only two things that I could see standing out in a PvP match. If there was more to it, like maybe even more subcategories of weapons or something like that, okay, then I can kind of understand it. What I'm referring to is, let's just say for this example, that you create a subcategory of sniper rifles called bullpup sniper rifles, which, by the way, is a real-life thing. There are bullpup sniper rifles. They're a much more compact sniper rifle used for special purposes. The point is that let's just say that you make it so the Interceptor and Storm can't equip a sniper rifle. They can only equip a bullpup rifle. Well, now you've done something that's unique. Now you've made it so that, you know, the javelins actually have a place among teams and PvP. But anyways, I'm going too far into this. Let's go ahead and move on. The next thing is, of course, the Division 2. Now, I played Division 1, and it was fun for a little while, but then it got really boring, and all the new content really didn't change too much. I mean, sure, people did have different equipment and all that, but the things remain the same in certain aspects. I.e., people always ran stamina and firearms, or stamina and electronics. It was just literally one or the other. I mean, everybody ran that kind of build. In addition to a standardized build for stats, you also saw, for the most part, a standardized weapon loadout. When I was around, kind of towards the start of the expansions, everybody ran assault rifles and shotguns. That was all I saw in the Dark Zone. I think that was just a balance issue. Things like the light machine gun just simply could not keep up with assault rifles or shotguns. They're just non-existent for the most part. And I kind of found that to be a little bit sad. I was expecting to see more variety than that. But that's the way things turned out. The other thing that bothered me about Division 1 was, I guess you can say, a minor bug. The Division 2 and Division 1 story, as far as I know, is a team called upon to deal with the SOL situation, essentially. As part of an SOL situation, you want the best of the best, so I'm going to guess that these Division agents are trained in law enforcement, military, or something like that. So, given the story, and based on what I understand of it, it doesn't make sense to send these people in with weapons that don't fit a law enforcement or military profile, i.e. a double-barrel shotgun. You would never see military or law enforcement go in with that kind of shotgun in real life, unless it was like a super desperate situation. I'm talking about like the standardized stuff, right? So like for law enforcement and military, their standard shotgun is the Remington 870 Tactical. If it's not the Remington 870 Tactical, it's going to be the Mossberg 500 series. They have been the staple shotguns of law enforcement and military for many years. So you can see why it doesn't make sense to me on a story level. It's because, from my experiences in real life with my own training, that, there's a time and place for certain things, and the Division didn't deliver on that. Now, the argument that people have thrown my way is that, there's been a breakdown of society and that they have to scrounge for their weapons. They're not going to get anything top tier. Well, there's still a lot of older weapons that are out there that can still survive in a military scenario. M14 being a prime example. The M14 is still used today as, of course, a different variant. I think it's like M14 EBR or something like that. But fact of the matter is, you can still find the older M14s around today. Maybe not in military and law enforcement, but you can find them maybe as a training weapon at gun ranges or something. What military or sometimes law enforcement will do is they'll contract their training to a third party, something outside their academy for like, the more special kind of stuff like CQB training or something like that. It's not a for sure thing that's going to happen, but it's something that does happen from time to time. So, you can see where I'm going with this, that the weapons didn't line up with the story. I get that this is not going to be 100% real life type of stuff, but it would have been nice to see like some relation to real life tactics and philosophy when it comes to this kind of scenario. That's just me, though. Everybody's different, but that's all I have to say on the subject. Thanks for listening.